Okay.
Right, we're recording. Awesome. Welcome everyone to 2025. Let's see, so we officially come to order at 5:39. We're gonna waive the reading of the minutes. Sorry, if anyone have any comments on the minutes from last month?
No.
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 All right, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
So
I move
moved.
to accept.
Tim, and then seconded by Peggy. Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
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 Great. All right, let's see, for now I have a different format on my Zoom. Cindy, are you our sole tenant today?
I guess I am, but I know Wendy's trying to get in. You know, she's called my house phone a couple of times to get in, but I think I might.
I see she's just there. I just admitted her.
Oh, great.
Hi.
Wendy's in.
Thank you.
We can't
All right.
do it without Wendy.
That's it. Thanks for sticking with it, Wendy. We think we got everything worked out, so
Great.
So
just getting
this
started.
was a new number as of this session, I guess.
Yes,
Yes.
and probably only a one time, just because we switched away from the first Wednesday because no one was around.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's see, Cindy, any quick comments?
Quick comment. Well, it's great to see Amy. Amy, thank you for, all that you did for us. I don't think, unless you lived at Millport, I've been at Millport a little bit longer than Amy. I was here in December of 2021. And I just want to say that since Amy's been in charge, it's really like amazing what she's done. I just want people to know that, because I think unless you don't live here and actually see everything she's done, I mean, she really is a one-woman show over here. I mean, it really is something. So it's good to have you back, Amy.
Thank you.
Stay healthy.
Yes, I'm trying. This is my year, right? I have to get
Yes.
back on my track of everything.
I don't know how you kept up with everything. Okay, that's
Fine.
it. That's my comment for
Thank
2020.
Wendy, any comments from you?
Well, can I ask a question again about it? So the meetings will continue to be on the third Wednesday?
Yeah,
On the first Wednesdays, aren't they?
no,
Oh,
didn't we
No.
change it to the third?
Third Wednesday.
Sorry, third Wednesday.
okay. So I'll just check next month to see what the number is, the phone number is, if it's still the same one or anyway.
Wait, didn't we? Wait, I'm sorry, aren't we? And forgive me, I mean, I think we went over all the stuff, but did we switch over to the third, or we on the first Wednesdays?
We're on the
No,
third.
my recollection.
And the reason we
is that
can't use the same link is that it is, I think the town council uses that link on Wednesdays. So Amy had to get, not Amy, Pam had to give me a new link.
Oh, but as I'm checking my calendar, I'm
But as to
probably,
your question, Scott,
yeah,
I think we wanted to give Westmount more time to provide us financials from the immediately previous month.
yep,
Because doing the first Wednesday, we were getting them from like the second previous. So we were hoping by giving them till the third Wednesday, we'd get the immediate previous month.
got
So
it.
we accommodated them, now they have to accommodate us.
And I've noticed that already. I'm going to end up missing next month, so I apologize for that. Might be able to take a little bit of it, but have a theater thing with the family. Okay, we'll deal with that later.
For whatever it's worth, I must have looked at an old schedule, because I have all the dates down over the course of the year. It's the second Wednesday.
I had that too, Mike. I don't know why.
I'll explain more, because initially that's what was proposed. Then Peggy suggested the third Wednesday, so we changed it.
Yep.
And we all agreed to that at the last meeting in December.
Okay.
So we agreed to go from the second to the third.
And then for technical things, so is it likely that this will be the same Zoom meeting going forward, the Zoom address going forward?
Not necessarily. I have to wait for Pam to
So we'll look
assign
for
it.
it next month and we'll see.
It'll be in the agenda.
Got it.
Okay. And we'll be looking around at the third Wednesday
Correct.
for the notice of the meeting and the numbers.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
This is just because we're the housing authority of New Canaan. I'm just, a concern is that with Riverwood, if you're going to be putting the gas lines in the, in, as opposed to having the, whatever they're using, the truck coming in to do the
Okay.
heating, because, yeah, propane, thank you, because the, our patchwork here is just, it would be awful to take, if they have a good parking lot, to do what happened here, because it's, so I don't know if you're committed to doing that, but like, and the reason I'm asking is it kind of all works down to the people who pay rent here anyway.
Yeah, I don't
but-
believe we have any intention of doing so. And
Okay.
that's a huge change to try to actually execute that. I mean, anyone else
Okay.
have any, I don't think we have that planned. Has anyone heard any of that?
Yeah.
I haven't
Okay.
heard that. I don't know why, if it broke.
No, the reason I'm bringing it up is because it was a huge change for whatever reason, theoretically, that it would be less expensive to do the gas. But as everyone has sort of found out, there were so many things that weren't noticed that became issues, and the parking lot is a major expense. And
Well,
it
right.
was patched, but there are a lot of cracks that are coming from the thing,
Yeah.
from the cuts that they made here. So
Sure.
anyway,
And Wendy, the reasoning behind stuff was that, gas was the holy grail forever. It was unlikely we were ever going to get gas. And then we actually got gas, and we made provisions in order to make that conversion down at Millport. And then, not surprisingly, the government plays around with a whole bunch of other stuff and messes up what the system was and should have been. And it's still likely better than the propane, although there has been other pain that's gone along with it. The reality is that Riverwood, when we converted, it was a time of mass conversion, and I don't think that we would be able to do the same thing now anyway. I think it would all be 100% under on our dime, which we have no inclination to do, and there's no compelling
you
reason.
have no dimes or nickels to rub together.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So that was just my concern, because it was like the Mill Apartments, just anyway. But that's that. And I don't know if this is sort of related to our landscapers. I don't. I watched the last taking away of the leaves, and it involved, because I had seen previously they were lawn mowing the leaves to shred them to make them smaller. But on their last visit here, I saw the whole process of the last visit, and they mowed all the leaves and in the driveway, and then I realized what they were doing was taking all those smaller pieces of leaves and putting them in construction bags, plastic bags, and then dumping them in the dumpster. So that was what was happening up down here. So I don't know if that happened all over, but that just doesn't seem, if there'd be some way that they could get the leaves somehow to the mulching spot. I don't know if you can governmentally try to figure something out, but I don't think that's the best plan.
No, I mean, I'd say that's probably not part of our deal with them, that they get to dispose of them in our dumpster. That'd probably be a good thing.
It was, because I looked, and there were, in the dumpster down here, there were, I knew there were 5 of the very large, heavy-duty plastic bags.
Sure.
So, I mean, it would be better if the leaves were just mulched and left on whatever grass is left here.
No,
But that just didn't seem
yeah,
right.
They're not supposed to be able to do that. I'm quite sure. And if we could just make a note with Amy and Rick, just to mention to the guys that they can't use our dumpsters for this. You know, there's
Yeah.
plenty of
I mean,
places
I don't know what,
to dump it. So
yeah, it was the last time, so I don't know what they did the other times, but I know they were
yep.
out on the road. I know they were mowing them in or
Yeah.
something. But this one, I was definitely watching them putting it in
Okay.
the dumpster. So I think that's it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Scott, real quick, Riverwood, are you going to address Riverwood in these meetings?
Yes.
Great, thanks.
All right. So I guess we move to management reports. Cindy, actually, I should end up saying that we're going to work through to get to addressing it. There'll be some issues we'll address here. We don't have a consolidated reporting system yet. We're working on all of that for Riverwood. So like tonight, we're not going to be going over that much here.
Right.
And we'll certainly, especially since we don't have Graystar here represented, then we'll make sure we take care of Westmount first.
Right, but there's nothing happening yet over there, right?
No, I mean, we're running it. It's a mature project. We're trying to go ahead and take care of some vacancy stuff, which came up due to the handover. And then there's normal stuff that happens with real estate.
But they haven't started with the lower income units yet. There.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, so management report.
Amy, will you start with your status report?
Yes, I will. Okay, so we have 3 apartments that are vacant. I'm still waiting on to find an actual good applicant for 223. We're waiting for the elevator. So they fixed the elevator. Then the state came out and said there's no telephone in there, so it should not be running. They sent a violation over for that. That was the follow up on that. I left message for TK Joe over there, DeFranio, and see what he's gonna do. And he's like the superintendent for the repairs. So he's supposed to give me a call back either today or tomorrow, but I haven't heard from him since.
How can we not have a telephone in there?
I don't know. They might have disconnected when they pulled everything apart to do the service that they needed to do there, the repair.
Yeah.
Is there a
So-
phone in there?
There's supposed to be a
Yeah.
phone in every single elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
but is the phone that's in there just not operational? I mean, is that what the issue is?
Correct.
I think I don't think that's the situation because it was working before.
Well, it's currently not operational. That's
Yeah.
correct, which is why it's
Okay.
not back online. And actually, Amy, I was corresponding with Gunnar, and I believe TK is scheduled to come back tomorrow to hopefully fix it and be done with it.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Yeah. That's what my last was. I left a message for Joe, the head supervisor there, so to find out when they were coming back out.
Okay.
Otherwise, that's what's holding up that the vacant in there in that apartment. So in that building.
You're muted, Peggy.
So we have 2 elevator buildings, 2 elevators, 1 elevator per building. We have, so 2 elevators per building.
No, one
No,
elevator
one.
per building.
Okay. Okay, the 2 big ones, got it. And are we being billed for the 4 lines? Are we doing with Optimum, doing the free line, or is that what
Yeah.
we're doing? Okay.
No, they bill us. They
Okay.
bill us. Mhm.
Okay. So they did not disconnect them. They just disconnected them when they did.
It's a hardware problem, not a phone line problem.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it. Everybody else is with any of the ARs and stuff like that. Everybody's been, for whatever was on that report, most of them are paid this month as opposed to last month. So those numbers are much higher actually, that we were in receivables we received. And maybe a few headers on that I will be working with them to get some assistance from HR and persons to persons for those people that lost their jobs last month and going forward. But just catching up on my research and stuff like that. Otherwise,
Hey-
everything was normal.
Hey, Amy, is 223 RAD unit?
No, 223 is a regular rental.
Okay.
The minimum income for that is right now at 56,000. I know I got a whole bunch of calls. I have a whole bunch of people that I'm looking at what you're submitting to me as well for those people, contact people.
Mhm.
And none of them are making any of that money. They don't even meet it. Everybody I'm finding is in the middle. So they're not making under 24,000 to be a RAD person, and they're not making enough to be a tax credit person. They're not making the minimum of 56,000. Otherwise, if I can't accept anybody under that, because they won't be able to pay, and in 6 months, I'll be taking them to court.
Right. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and in addition to that, we submitted the financials, the 3 sets of financials. And as you can see, we're either at or better than budget for each of the 3 for year end. So that's good news. I feel like we're on, relative to years past, we're on reasonably solid footing financially, and hopefully, we can continue to improve that. And as Amy pointed out, the accounts receivable numbers there are higher than normal, but you'll see that come down in next month's reporting because a lot of payments were made late in December or in January for December. So that's why those numbers look abnormally high. Aside from that, the biggest outside expenditure that we've had lately is that elevator work that we were just talking about. Other than that, it's been kind of business as usual as far as expenses are concerned.
Is there any move on the financials to do the write-offs? Or are we just gonna hang on to
Yes,
accounts receivable on the evicted folks?
yes, no, Alec is actually working with Ann and Amy and Chandrita, and with the audit that for 2024, we're gonna do all of the write-offs for both properties, the Millports and Canaan Parish, that are appropriate.
Okay, yeah, because that's a good chunk.
Yeah,
Well, it'd be nice to get that behind us and get it off the balance sheet, and then, yeah, we can keep pursuing it, but see what happens.
right.
And as Rick had pointed out, again, we've got the other 3 elevators, which run us, they're claiming $30,000 per. I forget, did we actually go ahead and did we get another price for doing this from anyone else, or just a rough budget, or do we know anything more about?
Yeah,
pricing?
I went to Kone through our relationship with them and got a rough budget, and their rough budget was slightly lower than TK's, but not a significant amount, a few $1,000 maybe.
Okay.
And then the concern that we had was that because we are under contract for maintenance for TK, we didn't want to bring in an alternative company. So because the costs, the rough budget and what TK had quoted us weren't appreciably different, we figured it would be appropriate to just move forward with TK.
Yeah, and Mike, look, if that's the right cost, it's the right cost. I think we all sat there going, I mean, that's a ridiculous number, but if other people say the same ridiculous number, they're probably right. So.
Yeah, they were at 20, I forget the exact number, 29, I think I sent to you today.
29,130 or something.
Something like that, and Kone estimated it would be like 26,000. So it was a difference, but not a huge difference, and that was like a phone call number, not a, actually look at it number.
So for the rest of us, that just raises a question of, if we have cash available, do we want to go ahead and preemptively deal with this issue? Do we want to wait for it to come up? Do we want to deal with it at some later point? And perhaps if we end up asking and seeing whether or not there's an economy of scale for, if it's $90,000 to do them, 30 times 3 to do it for each one individually, maybe it's 80,000 to do them all at once. I don't know if anyone has a feel on that, or.
I think
I mean,
I think we don't want them to go, we don't want to wait until they break again, because we lose rent when that happens. People can't get up and down the stairs. We can't rent out those units. And if we can get a package deal on doing more than one at a time, that would be good.
And by the way, Rick Cohn said that this was a dumb idea as far as ultimately the sustainability thing was a bad call or it's been proven to be a bad call. Forget about, I believe everyone tried to do it right to begin with, but are they seeing that other places, or do they say this is really unusual?
No, I guess they see it other places, and I actually called my contact there before the meeting to answer that exact question. And I said, hey, if you were managing this, would you set money aside under the assumption that the other 3 elevators are going to have the same problem? And he said, yes, you probably would be smart to do that. And so one thought I'll offer is that you've got Hank that has another year-end distribution that will come in a few months from Canaan Parish. Not a huge number, but probably enough to cover the cost of this. And then you have your replacement reserve accounts set up for each of the 3 entities. And so one of the things that you might consider doing is when you get the distribution from Canaan Parish, that you take that money and you distribute it into your replacement reserve accounts for the 3 entities, so that you know that it's been distributed from Hank to the entities, and at that point you can make a decision whether you'd like to do them preemptively or wait for them to fail and use it. But at least you've allocated the money out of Hank and into the replacement reserve account for that purpose.
And the objections to us just at least allocating the funds in, and we ought to start making preparations to do this. We ought to probably ask that question about, again, can we get a package deal if we do them all at once? And we probably ought to be getting ready to, set this up to proactively deal with it. That would make sense to folks.
Is it inevitable, Rick, that we're going to have the problem in the other 3?
That's what I'm being told. I mean, will it happen? I can't say for sure, but the 2 elevator companies that I deal with have both said it would be wise to plan for it because it seems to be an issue.
Yeah, I have no problem setting money aside for it. And it probably does make sense to approach for a group bid or a bid addressing all 3.
And is there, Rick, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's the vegetable oil ruins some of the parts along the way, and we have to get new parts for some of the stuff. Is that correct? Or
well, it ruins the parts. What I was told is that it ruins the parts because it tends to clump up over time and loses its, I guess, viscosity, and that the clumping clogs the mechanisms that operate the elevator, and you can't thin it out once it starts to do that. You just have to drain it entirely, clean the system, and replace it with petroleum-based oil.
and sorry that we're spending so much time on this. And for the elevator that we've already done the repairs on, that actually began to clump.
Yes. Yes, and so what was happening was the elevator wouldn't level, and it would jump and bounce as it would come to a stop. And it was because, I guess, the mechanism was getting clogged.
All right, well, let's make plans in order to keep the money. Let's set the money aside. Let's have it ready to go. Let's research a little bit more as to when and how we do this. It doesn't sound like we're an emergency and have to make this happen, but we ought to be moving that way and thinking about, in the next month or 2, making that call. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the date these were installed? These buildings?
2018.
I think they're a year apart for the 2 different, the ones. We
I
did the
think in
ones down below
2016.
first.
2018 was phase 2, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
2016 was phase 1.
Yeah, so 17 and 18.
Mhm.
Yeah,
-ish.
probably.
Yeah, so that's not much life at all. That's really
Is
No.
the problem in phase 1 or phase 2? that
all
we
of
had?
it.
Well, phase 2 right now.
Mm.
like 6 years, right? Okay.
Oh,
And then Scott, the other thing I'd just toss out just to put on the agenda for future discussion is you had asked me about other ideas, capital issues or capital plans that we should be making at Millport. The list they came up with are surge protection, asphalts, repaving, replanting some landscaping and trying to reestablish grass in areas where we've lost it. And some tree removal, especially up top of the hill back behind the buildings.
All right, well, let's, as part of this budgeting, process, let's go ahead and get this stuff on the table, and over the next, month to 2 months, let's hash through it and see what we're gonna end up doing this year.
Okay.
Anyone have questions under the financials for Mill or Millport? Very well. Okay, so we move to Canaan Parish real quickly.
Sure. Chandrita, will you do the status report?
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Chandrina.
hi. Always
Okay.
Chandra.
Hi, for Canaan Parish, we now have 4 vacancies, but we have 2 applications that are in process now. And for unit S110, which was the flood unit, we have the engineer that came out. He did pictures. We had a whole team out here for, excuse me, for the flood thing. So our next step is finishing up that process and getting that resident back into that unit. Right now, she's in another unit, which is S304 on the 3rd floor. We moved her from the 1st floor to the 3rd floor. That was this, which was happened actually on Christmas Eve. We've been working closely with her, so we're just at the point now where we're just trying to finish up with that unit. And also for compliance and legal.
Hey, Shan, can
Mhm.
I just interrupt for a second, just to give you guys a little more detail on the elevator, or excuse me, the sprinkler pipe issue?
S110, yeah.
Yeah, S110. So I don't know if everybody's aware, on the 24th, the sprinkler pipe broke in the ceiling above Unit 110 in the south building at Canaan Parish. It flooded the ceiling above and it basically rained in the apartment for probably, I don't know, an hour maybe.
Mhm.
And they're wound up with probably 2 to 3 inches of water on the floor of the entire unit. So there was a lot of destruction. And as Chandrita mentioned, tenant was moved up to 304. Well, first moved to a hotel, then moved up to 304.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had ProClean come in and they've remediated it. So the remediation is done and complete, and everything is dry, awaiting the reconstruction. And the reconstruction has been on hold pending the State Farm hired a forensic engineer to come and try to identify the source of the problem. And that's what Chandrita was referring to, what happened yesterday, that inspection.
Mhm.
So I've got a note out to State Farm asking that now that the forensic engineer has come, can we begin to reconstruct the unit? And so I'm hoping that we'll get the go-ahead on that and we can pull the trigger. We've got everything priced out and sourced. We just need to actually get the go-ahead from State Farm to do that.
Mhm.
And how long do you think it takes to put the unit back together? Roughly.
As long as we can get on everybody's schedules,
Mhm.
concurrently, probably a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it was a significant loss, and I just wanted
Mhm.
to give you the backstory on it.
Well, it'll
And
be
it
interesting
happened
to see
on
what the
Christmas
forensic
Eve.
guy says.
And it happened on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I know you guys were on the call today with AP Construction regarding the windows at Anderson Windows. But that's something that we are discussing, like what plans and what steps to take regarding the casings. And I just received another email from Ra. He wants to do another meeting next week. I don't know if you received that yet, but he gave us a couple of dates to do another phone call. I guess that will be the plan of action call, what he wants to do next. And we also had John Siginiano, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, from Apex Security System to get the butterfly system to be installed where the community room is. Because, you know, when they come, they would have to come to the side of the building, which some people don't know. So once they come to the community room building, it's going to be set up where they can press and it'll be directed to the South Building office. So they'll get me directly without coming all the way to the side to get me on the left side of the building. And also, we received the fence. We received a proposal for the fence. We had one of the residents crash into the fence by the north building where the dumpster is. So we're going to actually charge that resident for that, and we have the proposal to start that. And we
And,
changed
and Chandrita, aren't
Mhm.
we also looking to add either some bollards or
Right.
some,
that's where
uh,
where the generator is.
yeah, so the generator's there, and I think it's the gas supply, isn't that right? So the gas
where the
supply
gas
is
line
there, and it
is.
was behind the fencing, but
Mhm.
didn't have any other armor to protect it, so we feel like we should add something there to protect it beyond just the chain link fence.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And as for legal, we have a court date scheduled for S410, which is Maria Chan.
Wait, Chandra, we can go ahead and we'll hit, anything that involves individuals. We'll go
Okay.
ahead and talk about in executive session in a little bit.
Okay, and I think that completes our things for everyone except for the compliance and tenant issues.
Okay. Any questions for public discussion? There's a couple legal things under both individuals and overarching that we can be discussing inside of executive. But any questions otherwise for Canaan Parish?
No, I'm
Okay.
okay.
Overall, it seems, again, good job making stuff run and keeping it together. Stinks with the loss on the apartment, and really bad for the poor tenant. I mean, feel very, very sorry for them under that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happened. It's one thing that as I was driving in this morning, was also just thinking, do we have a protocol to make sure that we're checking empty units? You know, obviously that one was filled, but just, you know, as we look back in our history, you know, we've got these freeze ups during winter times and empty units, and this is for both Millport and for Canaan Parish.
Yeah, we usually keep the heat on, and for Canaan Parish, we continue, once the resident moves out, we turn the heat on back in our name so the pipes won't freeze.
Yep.
And keep it set at a level 71.
No, I think it's good. And if we just go ahead and make sure that somebody,
Mm-hmm.
Aziz or somebody, you know, once a week or something like that makes their way in, or maybe, you know, every other day or something, just to make sure we don't get caught, especially if there's a really big cold snap, but.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess under sort of public discussion stuff, I concur under like things like the bollards, you know, let's go ahead and get our capital expenditures set up for this year. That'll be an important thing to get set. I saw that the tax form was included. I forget that. I think that was included under Millport, right? Or was that?
Yeah.
But does Millport have, what was that tax form? For
It's,
Millport?
it's actually a Hank item, not a Millport item.
Right.
And so I think Alec just included it with the Millport correspondence, but it's technically a Hank document.
And this isn't the same thing that we have for Canaan Parish. We have to submit stuff in later. This is different.
Correct.
And I didn't get a chance to read it. This is just something
It's just, if I remember correctly, it's a document that certifies the ongoing nonprofit status of the housing authority with the town.
And it's filed
Okay.
every 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
all right. It's pretty well filled out, right? If not all the way filled out.
For the most part, I believe I just left it so that, the sign.
And then do
Yes,
we-
yeah, I think it just needs signature is what Alex is. I don't know if you can see me in the background.
Do we actually have a treasurer?
No,
Actually, Mike is supposed to be the treasurer.
I think
Right.
Mike is.
All right, Mike, you still with us?
he is.
If he is, he's not owing up.
All right, so Mike, if you see that form there, if you want to go ahead and sign that and get it back to us, we'll get it all filed in.
Sure, I didn't review it yet, but I will, and
Yeah.
without questions, I'll sign it and send it back.
Sounds good. Okay. Anything else for public discussion?
This is Wendy.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm wondering is there, will February be the time for the bug inspection people and speaking of bursting pipes, the MJ Daily visit? Are there any dates on that yet? On either of those?
I believe we have extermination dates set. Sandrina and Amy, do you know what those, I think they were in your reports too.
Yeah, February
Parish-
7th and 8th for Millport, I
And,
see.
and Canaan Parish, we just had ours in January, so ours is quarterly, so the next one will be in March.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the Parkway bug people or
Yeah.
Yes.
pest controller?
Yes,
Yeah.
pest-
So 7th and 8th will get notified closer to that. And then
Yes.
MJ Daily, is there a time on that? We know?
Yeah, I think that's the end of, that's the, March. March.
Okay,
You'll
Okay.
get notice.
and that'll be noticed too. Okay, so the closest thing is February 7th and 8th.
Well, the 8th
right.
is actually a Saturday, so I don't think they're going to do it
Oh.
on.
Probably not. All right, well, sometime
Okay.
around the first week in February.
Yep, and I
Well,
believe
the
our
7th
notice is,
It's the 7th and 8th, and then the 8th would be you, because they do the second day is always the mills. We do the
Okay.
mills completely.
Okay, all
okay,
right. And then, but we'll get noticed anyway for the other people who aren't on this call.
Always, everybody, the
All
whole
right.
complex gets noticed. They get the call max and
Thanks.
get the posting of the doors. Yes,
That's great. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
you're welcome.
okay,
All right, and let's hope, so far so
Yeah.
good with the the sprinklers here, with this cold thing that we've been having. So far so good. I like their antifreeze
Ryan.
trick. So,
all right.
all right.
So
Thank you.
do we have a motion to go to executive session?
I'll move.
Any second? Mike seconds, all in favor? Aye.
I
All right, so thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Wendy. Happy New Year, and I'm sure we'll see you around.
Thanks, guys.
Well,
Yeah.
well,
Record. All right, so we're back out of executive session. We have a couple of votes to put in front of us. The first,
Are you recording again now?
yes.
yep. First would be to go ahead and I put forward a motion that we approve the asset management contract with Heritage Housing and David McCarthy, as discussed under the terms in our executive session. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second,
All right, all in favor? First, we have abstention.
Aye.
We have delegated votes. Not delegated, what's the term?
Proxy.
Proxy. Proxies for Mike Sweeney and for Tim Welsh have been given to vote in the affirmative, and I make it unanimous. So the vote passes. Second vote.
now that's for the resolution, correct?
Resolution passes, correct.
Okay. What about the other items?
Second item is asking for authority to pay David McCarthy and Heritage Housing $5,000 to set up our accounting, and $1,000 a month to handle the overall consolidated balance sheets or financial statements for Hank.
Yeah.
And that'll be on an annual
Move.
basis. We'll go for that. Peggy moves.
Yeah.
Bernie, you want a second?
Second,
Okay, Tim and Mike Sweeney, Tim Welsh and Mike Sweeney both have proxy to vote of the affirmative, and I make it unanimous. Perfect.
Unanimous.
Resolution passes. And the third item is a motion to authorize up to $30,000 to further explore if the Connecticut Housing Authority, through the Build CT program or any other program, would be willing to facilitate the much earlier conversion of area median income units into state median income, and thereby 830G moratorium qualifying units.
Yep.
Peggy moves. Bernie, would you second?
I second.
And again, Tim and Mike both ended up putting their proxies in affirmative, and I would make it unanimous.
Okay.
All right, and Bernie, if you want, if we want to call up afterwards, I'm happy to try to work on some of that wording or talk specifics on it. If
Yeah,
needed.
that would be a good idea if you can send it to me, because it's not
Yeah.
part of the resolution.
Yep.
It would have to be
Yeah, they're separate.
another resolution. It doesn't have to be really be a resolution. It could just be something we
Motion.
voted on.
It could be a motion, yeah.
Motion.
Okay, anything else that we need to be discussing in public?
I don't think so.
Very well. Do we have a move? Bernie, would you like to propose that we adjourn, since Peggy got all those motions?
I make a
back up?
motion that we join.
Peggy, would you second?
Any second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Good night, folks.
All right, guys, thank you much.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Awesome.